I think what's really prompted me to write my exercise books, and it's from a real situation in the classroom. I had a group of learners in my year 11 class, and I really wanted to do something special for them. They were demotivated and they were disengaged, and I just wanted to do something that's really going to lift them. So I said to them, hang on a minute, can we just stop? I asked them to find their work. They weren't really interested. I says, can you find your work of trigonometry? And I'm a maths teacher. And they couldn't find it. Oh, I can't find it. So I said, okay, let's all stop. Do you think, and I asked them the question, and it was a very bold question. I said, do you think we need to do something different? And they said, I don't know what you mean. I says, do we need to do something different in terms of your exercise books? And the whole lesson became a discussion about what would really help them to really engage in their learning. And so we were coming up with all these different ideas. That day I went home so motivated. I got my little black book. I wish I had it in front of me. That was May 2015. I wrote down all these different ideas, and I discarded some. No, I don't want them to use a highlighter. No, I'm not doing this one. I want it to be something that's so simple. It's going to be so focused that anyone can use it, any child can use it. So that was the whole idea.
Hello and welcome to the Bob Expo podcast. My name is Amos Madry, your host. Joining me today is Sandra Smith, who is the founder of Focus Lane Books, which is not your traditional exercise books. They contain inspirational comments and words to encourage children daily to complete their classwork or home learning. I am excited to introduce Sandra here today. Sandra, a warm welcome to you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm good. It's been a long day. And I'm
Wow.
here speaking to you. So it's a nice way into the weekend. So thank
Exactly.
you.
It's great to have you here today. As soon as I saw that, we'd scheduled you in for the interview, and then I was looking at the work that you do. I just couldn't wait to get into this, and I'm really pleased to have you here today. Can you tell
Thank
us
you.
about yourself, your books, and how it all started, and the background to your profession?
Well, there's a lot of questions there. So I'll start with the background to my profession. I've worn many hats over my almost 30 years of teaching. 30 years of teaching, it just seemed to have gone by so quickly. You would never believe, or maybe it's because I've been enjoying teaching. So I have worked as a class teacher, maths teacher. That's my specialist subject in secondary school, 11 to 18. I've worked as a director of head of maths. I've worked as a director of teaching and learning. So that was a promotional position whereby I was in charge of a whole school assessment for learning. And then moving on from that, I moved on to director of enrichment and co-curriculum, where I brought the outside into school. I planned enrichment activities. And I'm going to say this one, I actually got Patrick Vieira to come into school to
Wow.
speak to my year 11 students. And it wasn't just once. I saw him and I said, I need you. Come into school and speak. I want you to motivate my year 11 students. He said he has no time. I said, you need to find time. So he found the time. But I said to the head teacher, when Patrick Vieira turns up, everything has to stop. The year 11s will have to stop their work and, go to the hall. And Patrick Vieira wants to speak with them. And that's exactly what happened. And the children were really uplifted. On the second occasion, they came to check and see how they were. And I found out that Patrick Vieira's brother is much better than him at football. But he
Wow.
was the one that really persevered and really put the hardworking. So I was, I was
Yeah.
surprised to hear that. So, going back to me as a teacher over these many years, I think what's really prompted me to write my exercise books, and it's from a real situation in the classroom. I had a group of learners in my year 11 class, and I really wanted to do something special for them. They were demotivated and they were disengaged. And I just wanted to do something that's really going to lift them. So I said to them, hang on a minute, can we just stop? I asked them to find their work. They weren't really interested. I says, can you find your work on trigonometry? I'm a maths teacher. And they couldn't find it. Oh, I can't find it. So I said, okay, let's all stop. Do you think, and I asked them the question, and it was a very bold question. I said, do you think we need to do something different? And they said, I don't know what you mean. I says, do we need to do something different in terms of your exercise books? And the whole lesson became a discussion about what would really help them to really engage in their learning. And so we were coming up with all these different ideas. That day I went home so motivated. I got my little black book. I wish I had it in front of me. That was May 2015. I wrote down all these different ideas, and I discarded some. Nope, I don't want them to use a highlighter. No, I'm not doing this one. I want it to be something that's so simple. It's going to be so focused that anyone can use it. Any child can use it. So that was the whole idea. And so I came across the idea, okay, I'm going to have a content page. That means they'll be able to find their work. So there'll be no, I can't find my work. So those key pieces of work, they'll be written in a content page. And I will say to them, right, find your work, go to the page, you'll know where to find it. So that's that bit covered. And then I started picturing, all the different learners in the classroom, your cool boy who really wants to learn, but doesn't want anyone else to know about it. So I wrote some motivational quotes, and that was really geared to that particular learner. Then it was geared to the person who make mistakes, and they think making a mistake is the end and the be all of anything. And then it just became, thoughts in my head. These are all the things that I say to children in my classroom. Other teachers, they say the same thing to children in the classroom as they're learning. So I just thought of all their negative self-talk, and I tried to give them that those lifting, those kind words to really lift and motivate them. So I wrote it all throughout the books. And that the whole idea was to create a maths book, because that's my specialist subject. And then I just took it one step further and decided to do this across the core subjects, English, maths, and science. Hence, the books are created for English, maths, and science. And, I can tell you this, when I received the books, I was like, so happy. They were created for age 11 to 16. I opened the book and I was so happy to see, the font size. It's really, it's really easy to read. So the fonts were nice and easy to read. The words were easy to read. And hence, that's why I then said, if a child can read, they can read and understand this. And so with me now being in school, I'm now asking the children, each week I ask the children, can you tell me, what does this quote mean to you? So if you go on my Instagram page, I'm starting to share those. So over the course of a few weeks, I'll start sharing those.
I think that is absolutely incredible. It's brilliant. Just the concept of it, first of all, with children as well. And I think, the first thing was, you didn't see yourself above them. And I think sometimes there's that barrier between teachers and learners, and they feel they can't be open and tell the teachers how they feel. But you came down to their level and said, you know what, be honest with me. Let's have this discussion, dedicating that whole class to finding out what it was that they need. And I think, I was reading a quote the other day, when when you're dealing with customers and the SDE clients, you could look at it from a business perspective, but you didn't see it that way. You saw it as you needed to provide a service. And ultimately, that's what you've done. You've provided a service. You've come up with a great idea that
So yeah, sorry to cut you, Amos. Something that I always say, and I carry this every single day in my classroom. I treat children in exactly the same way as I would want other teachers to treat my children. So as far as I'm concerned, when they're in my classroom, they're my children, they're my responsibility, and I will do whatever I can for them to help them to cross over that line. And I do remind them that school and part of school, it's a part of their journey. It's not the be all and it's not the end all. This is just a part of the whole big journey that they have ahead of them. And I would like to know and feel that I have played a real significant part in helping them to move, to lift, and to grow, because that's what children need.
I love that. And, life is a journey. We're all on the journey. We're all learning. I heard TD Jakes said that the master is always learning as well, very critical of themselves and seeing how they can improve, because the moment that they stop doing that, and then they stop being able to teach. And again, being very reflective and looking back and saying something's not right here, why they're not able to pick up on what we're teaching, again, that clearly shows that self-reflection and seeing where things could be improved. And again, it's a great concept in the fact that, you can keep bringing it out each year. You hear about the Oxford books that come out and they're always renewed to what's current. So, yes, you cover the core subjects. When things do change, as they do change, again, you can apply it to fit modern day learning. And I think that's why it's a great idea. And I think it's a concept that can continue for decades to come. So I think you've got a great
learning
idea.
never stops. Amos, 2 years ago, I semi-retired with the view, I'm going to retire, put my feet up and do nothing and just enjoy life. Couldn't do that. I wrote a book, and another journey has begun. And I'm learning. It's like I'm learning a new subject. I'm now into business and I'm learning. I was very naive at the start. I got the books and I thought I wanted everybody to know about it. I sent the books out to all the different schools. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't get a reply. And that was in March, just after the pandemic, and every schools were just opening up. And then I had to stop and reflect. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was not until I think it was Monique did a post on Instagram, and she did something and it really touched me. And I thought, and it was about something being honest with yourself in business. And that made me stop and think. I didn't do something wrong. I did something that was a learning curve. I learned from it. So I wasn't going to beat myself about it. I did something with enthusiasm and it didn't work, but it didn't throw me off. What it did, it just made me stop, reflect, and try to see a different way, a different strategy, but be patient. I'm being patient. I'm at this stage now where I'm being patient and I'm just persevering, moving on, being very focused. If I didn't go to Bob Expo, I would learn that I just need to focus on one thing. I thought you had to focus on lots of different things and get it out there and be, the world is going to end, my business, I need to do everything. That was my perception of how I needed to approach everything. Oh, this has got to be done, or else no one will know about it. No. So I've just calmed down. I'm focusing on one thing and I'm going to try to get that right. Then I'll move on. One thing at a time. There's no way that you can do everything all at once. It's not humanly possible.
That's incredible advice. And I think it's something for all of us to think about as well, because, we all want to do something, be a jack of all trades. I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, you can't be a wandering generality. You need to be a meaningful specific. So you need to focus on that one thing and make that your thing, so that you are the go-to person when it comes to that. Yeah. Sometimes you might be doing something for years, and yet, people don't think of it as something worthy. But then at some point, you will become the go-to person, and suddenly you are the expert. And I think it's so important to stick to that one thing. And I think you've raised a great issue there, and it's something for all of us to work on.
Thank you. And you know what I've written on my planning book? Because I know that I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for 30 years. I have to write this affirmation to myself. Instagram has a way of you thinking you need to be like somebody else, like a clown, like somebody else. You've got to follow this rhythm, and you've got to tick all these boxes. And sometimes it's just not you. You cannot function that way. So I have written on the front cover of my planning book, I'm the expertise. I am going to let what I know shine through, rather than what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be posting. I'm supposed to be doing so many different things, and nothing is becoming of it. No, I am going to be the person that I am. And over time, that message hopefully will, it will translate into who Sandra Smith is, founder of Focus Lane Books. So, like I said, I'm being very patient. I'm learning from all the good examples that I see around me. And I'm going to say one thing. If I didn't network, every event that I go to, I have my little notepad. I write my little notes, all my little networks of whatever. I even write down, as I'm stood there, I write and say, now, what can I improve? How can I improve? Because I look to see how the customers engage with me, and I write things down. Next time, this is what I'm going to do. That person is doing that. That's a brilliant idea. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that approach. And when you go to events, I'm learning now, you're not going there for the sales. If you're going there for the sales, then it's not going to work for you. You've got to go there with the mind that I'm going there to showcase myself, especially as a new business. I'm going there to showcase myself. And also I'm going there to network. And if I meet a group of people or a person, I'm networking with you, and I don't just leave it there. I then follow it up, but I prioritize, right, these 3 people here, I need to contact them. And then I follow it up. So you're going to hear about some great things about to happen.
Sounds exciting. Tell us why
in the next few weeks.
Tell us why networking is important.
Network is so important because when you start networking, you start connecting. It starts taking you into different directions, or directions that you've never even thought about. But those people, one person can say, right, I know of someone who's doing this. I can put you in the right direction. I can connect you. So it's about connecting with people. It's about also learning from those people. I mean, I've got some connections that I'm now using them, and they're guiding me as a mentor. They're my mentor. So I'm grateful for that. There are some great people, great Black-owned businesses, great, people who can really help you and support you. It's a band of support as well. You're not doing it on your own. You then realize, this is not a journey by myself. This is a journey where I am given some some little pointers. Now it's up to me. Well, you can either take it and just have it locked away, or you can take it and do something with it. So that's the difference. You can network with somebody and they give you lots of all the pointers, and then you can say, okay, I like that, and just leave it. Or you can look at it and say, this person can help me to do X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to go along with this. And sometimes you don't even know where it's headed, where the direction is leading you. But at the offset of the start, it's taking you somewhere, because once you network with somebody, you network with another group of people. And before you know it, you've got a whole connection of network that you can dip into. And that's what it's about. And I didn't know that. As a teacher in the classroom, I was not aware of that at all. I didn't know that once I'd written my books that I would actually have to be doing this groundwork. But if I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't pursue it any further, because it's not easy. It's not easy. And sometimes you have your off days, you think, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then you have those other more beautiful days when you say, this is what it's about. This is me. I'm going to persevere. I'm going to keep going. And I'm practicing what I teach. I teach the children to persevere, be resilient, and you're gonna have obstacles. I know those obstacles are not to trip you up. Those obstacles are there to have you, to make you think. It's there to guide you somewhere else. Maybe there's something else that you've not thought about, and also to say maybe you won't do this again. So it's a guide. It's a guide. So it's okay to make mistakes, but just make sure that you are learning from it. Or is it mistakes? Learning curves, I call them.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I love hearing that. It's always encouraging when you hear someone with such passion, and they say your network is your net worth. Work on your strengths, manage your weaknesses. Again, you've perfectly explained that for us. And again, I just love hearing that. You come across as somebody who's so positive, passionate, enthusiastic. Really a go-getter. You've achieved a lot with your career, almost 30 years as a teacher in education. You've been in senior leadership positions, and that energy is still there, that enthusiasm is still there, and that passion, that drive. Where does it come from?
It comes from my dear dad, my dear father. I was born here, and then at age 18 months I went to live in Jamaica to live with great-granddads, and they were all teachers. So I didn't really know my parents until I came back here. And my dad, he is the one, he's the driving force. In terms of education came first. We had handwriting practice in our household. Our whole living room was transformed into a library. It had English books, maths books, science books. We had reading competition. We had writing competition. You come home from school, you're doing something. My dad was there as the driving force behind education. He says, whatever you do, just try to do the best you can possibly do or be. Don't ever think that you can't achieve anything. And they're the same thing that I say to my children in school and my own 3 children. I have 3 sons. My oldest son, think of Beyonce, he wrote Brown Skill Girl for Beyonce. He went to Jamaica and he came back. I'm there in my living room, and I said to him that, as he said, oh, Mum, do you want to listen to this? So I said, okay, let me hear it. So I said to him, oh, that sounds like, it's got like a little reggae feel to it, Brown Skin Girl. I never thought anything of it. Then months later, my social media account is blowing up and people are sending me messages. I said, what is it? Says, haven't you heard? I says, no, Brown Skin Girl. Oh, I remember that. Just as casually as that. And so, but it wasn't as easy as that for my son, for him to go into music and be a singer-songwriter. He's won the Ashford and Simpson songwriter award. He's won lots of Grammys. He's also been in the charts with DJ Snake, but it didn't start there. There is a story behind that. I remember he was in a band called Kid British, and that band, they fell apart. So he came home and he sat in the settee all sad eyes, and I said, what's the matter? So I said, well, you've had the best learning ever. What are you going to do with it? That was your training ground. So what are you going to do? And that was it. I just said, what are you going to do with that? If that's where your passion lies, you tell me, show me what you're going to do with it. And that was the beginning and the end of a story.
I think that's
and
what
then my
makes,
second son,
that's what makes a
my
great
second
coach.
son, my second son, who is, I would say that he's the master brains. He taught himself everything. Went to university, got a first-class honors degree in business and finance. So, he's very much his own boss. And then my other son, he's a sports person. He plays football and he's also a coach and so on. So I say to my children, if you're going to do something, do it well. If you want to do something, do it with passion. If you're going to do something, make sure that you are trying to be the best you can possibly be. Okay? You're not always going to be the best, but you can try to be the best. And that's what I say to them.
I'm sure any child could feel like they could run through a wall with somebody inspiring them like that every day. If that's what you're waking up with, you've got your own personal Les Brown living with you.
Oh dear, but something, Amos, there was a time in my teaching career, and I've never really said this publicly. There was a time in my teaching career where I had 6 months where I'd hit a brick wall. Hit a brick wall, that means that, you'd mentally, I just needed to unravel, and I just needed to stop. And in those 6 months, you know who I listened to? Les Brown, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hayes, all those influential, motivational speakers. But I had to find that for myself. So for me now, nothing phases me. If there's a problem, it's not a problem. It's a solution that I can try to work through it. I know it sounds like a very, very cheesy, doesn't it? But it is true. In my world, it's not a problem. I'm going to work through it.
Yeah.
They're the little pointers that children need to know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great mindset, to feel that this problem is a solution. There's a solution to it. There's a way to get through it. And, again, having a great dad like yours who gave you that great foundation, of education, that kind of knew where your path was heading to, which was really good.
Absolutely wonderful. There are 5 children in the family, and every single child in that family, you better make sure you've got something that you can do, you're going to do, or you are doing, because they were dad's principles, there's his philosophy, and he never had the opportunity of an education, so he wanted an opportunity he wanted us to have a better opportunity, so I've got to give 100% praise to my parents. They are the one who are the instigators. They are the foundation of who I am and what I am and what my children are, and I'll never forget that, and I'll always give them credit, and I'll say it very loud and very proud to my mom and to my dad. They made those sacrifices. They came here in the 60s and they worked and they made and tried to ensure that there was something better for us.
Yeah.
And I think all those little things is why I'm so passionate about education. If focus lane books never ever become, a high flying book, I'm glad I've written those exercise books, because it's all of me, what I want to say to children. I want you to be the best that you can possibly be. I want them to have those exercise books when they read them. It's their own me time. They can read a motivational quote, and who knows what a kind word or phrase can do. I'm going to read one to you. Let me find one. Okay. Oh, I've got to put my glasses on now. Here we go. Consistency is the key to success. With positive actions and simple routines over and over again, any child can understand that. Consistency is the key to success. You can't just think, I'm going to just try something once and hope for magic to work. And I wrote this because there are sometimes some children, they might be doing a calculation or something, and they might give up. So don't give up.
And I like the way you also explained how to be consistent.
Yeah.
With the continuous work.
Yeah,
I think it's important as well.
It's
just
positive actions and simple routines.
Yeah.
Get yourself into a simple routine, and that simple routine is pack your bag the night before. Have your little homework timetable, complete your homework, get it sorted. Just doing those little simple things. It's not anything that you're unable to do. It's all very, very simple. And that's what it is. It's just sowing these little seeds to success, sowing these little seeds for children to build up their resilience, and have those take responsibility for their learning, because it's these little habits that they take with them from school into higher education, from higher education into employment, and they build and they grow from these little seeds that we start sowing from now, rather than waiting until a damage is done and we're not quite sure what to do. Yeah. So I'm not saying that these books work by themselves. I'm saying they work in addition to other things that they're doing, but the little reminders in here to help them to move along. And children do love them, because I asked my year 9 class, I said to them, well, can you be the ones that give me some feedback? And they gave some wonderful feedback. I'm going to be posting them. I've got about 50. So I've got like content.
Lots of content to come. Yeah.
That's the one. I was just posting them. I'm learning the art of posting them. And thank you so much to V. And she was at Bob Expo. I took a lot in on that day. You want to see me with my little notebook and I'm writing things down. It's like I was doing my homework on that day, just writing things down. And it's so important, for small businesses. If you really want to be to get out there, take the courage and go to events.
Yeah.
And you have to pay.
Yeah.
The thing is, you have to pay. Okay.
I've got a couple of questions for you, and I think I've got a couple of questions, and I think this is going to help a lot of small businesses. When I hear you talk about your parents, what they instilled in you, when I hear you talk about, the kids, and just that beautiful, quote that you read there for us, just to hear about consistency and the simplicity in how you've put that on paper and just explaining to kids how to be consistent. It's one thing saying be consistent, how, and you've explained how to be consistent, which is really good. Could you tell us, and I think this is helpful for a lot of business owners, you seem to be very grateful. What does gratitude mean to you? And you spoke about your parents, you spoke about what it means for you to do what you do for your own sons, as well as the children that you teach. What is your why? Why are you grateful? What does gratitude mean to you? And what is your why? What's Sandra Smith's
gratitude? Why? Gratitude to me means that I'm thankful number one, for the opportunities that I've had in my life in terms of my education. And I'm grateful that I've got the strength to be courageous enough to take on board things, try things, and learn from them, and still have a smile on my face, because I do know that when you work for something, and I've seen it happen, when you work for something and when you put your positive energy into whatever you're doing, something's going to come out of it. And it might not even be what exactly at the time you expect it to be. And it might not be in the way how you expect it to be, but something comes out of it. And I'm just grateful for the person that I am, and the communicator that I am, and the good people that I meet, and they embrace me and help me to grow. I'm just grateful. I am grateful for my career. I'm grateful for my children, and I'm just grateful for just the person that I am. You know, just being happy, and being happy means that you're going to have a successful business, because you're always going to try and find, you know, what's going to keep you buzzing, what's going to keep lifting you, and I just go with positives. I go with positives. If there's anything that's out of my radar and it's not working, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to leave this. It's not for me. So I'm grateful for the person that I am, and I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I've had from a very early age that I can take, and that I have taken and have grown with them. That's my sense of gratitude. And I just say thank you to all the children. You have helped me to grow. All those thousands of children that I have taught, they have taught me to grow. And I'm still in contact with them, even now, some of them. And they always bring a smile to my face because we always reminisce about some of the times when they've made my life so unpleasant. But I always say to them, listen, you are not going to be 14 3/4 for the rest of your life. And, like 10 years later, they come back and, you see the fruits of what they're doing. So I'm just grateful that I never gave up. I don't give up on my children that I teach. I don't give up on them, and they know that I'm the teacher. I'm going to ask them to find your parents. Where is your parent? Where are your parents? Right, I'm knocking on your door. I'm dropping the homework through your letterbox. I'm going to find you. Okay, so I'm that kind of teacher, and I'm just grateful that I am that person, and I am genuinely that person. I've got to tell you this story. I was once in ASDA, and I saw this girl running from one aisle to the next. So I thought, why is she running? So I go to one aisle, she's running. Well, anyway, I ran and I caught up with this person. He was an ex-student, and she started crying. She knows who she is. When she hears this, she'll know who she is. She started crying. So I said, why are you crying? She goes, oh, I'm so sorry for making your life so awful, and can you let all the teachers know? And I want you to know that, I'm grateful I got my maths, and I went to university and I did really well. And I'm so sorry for making your life so stressful. And I said to her, don't be silly. I says, it's my job to see the good in you, and to ensure that I focus on the good in you and try to tap that out of you. So you've not done anything wrong. I says, you were 15. I'm the adult as the teacher, and I'm here helping you and guiding you. I says, I was guiding you. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. And, from then on, we've had a bonding and a relationship. So, and this is the joys of teaching. These are some of the unseen things that you don't see as a teacher, or other people don't see. That is why teaching is such a unique profession, because you're a teacher, you're a mother, you're a carer, you know, you're a mentor, you're everybody all rolled into one. You know, you're everything. And then, you know, and you've got to make sure that every single child in front of you or around you, that you're caring for them, because it's just that little time that they're with you. So you have to make it be their best time and their time of growth. And that's it. So I'm just grateful.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for all these little things that I can say and all these things that I can say that I'm happy about.
Yeah.
And that's what makes life so beautiful.
Incredible. Incredible. I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. I love who you are. You've got a beautiful soul, and, you know, you've achieved so much, but you're still hungry for more. And, you know, you're always willing to help others. You know, you are the example of the best teacher that anybody could wish for. I think anyone watching this, listening to this, you know, would always just wish for a teacher like you. And, you know, may that never stop. May it always continue. And, you know, if you're able to implement that in so many people's lives, they are indeed blessed. I know that there's more still to come from you. How can our audience connect with you? What have you got in the pipeline? What can we expect?
As we speak, and soon after this interview, I'll be back there on my computer. Okay, so, you know, like I said, that in terms of customer feedback and other things that I've learned, I am now putting together my new addition to my books. So you're going to have different books, different sizes, some additional worksheets, and all these things are going to be there with my, you know, so you're going to see growth. You're going to see a before and you're going to see an after. I'm not going to say too much about it, but you are going to see that, and you are going to see the power. You know, I always model myself of people who I know are doing really well. Okay, now I'm going to say Rihanna, and I'm not going to say because she's a musician. I'm going to say because she's a thinker, and she thinks about how am I going to captivate and hold my customers, and that's what I'm working on. How am I going to captivate and hold my customer? And she must have done her survey, and she must have had customer feedback from customers and other people. Like I said, if my customers feedback to me, I'm writing it down, because it's what the customers want. It's not what they need, it's what they want. I was saying at first, they just need the book by itself. What the customers want is what I'm going to give them. So you are going to see, you are going to see a big pow very, very soon. That is why I'm sort of not going to every single event. I don't need to be there. I am working on what is my priority is getting my new edition and getting it right. Not going to say it's perfect, because I'm always going to learn from that step again, but this is where I'm at. This is where I need to be. So I'm on to that next level where I'm moving. I'm 6 months in business. I'm 6 months in business, but I think that I have taken on board quite a few things, and I'm running with them. Not walking, I'm running. I'm taking it because it makes sense. It's working for me. It's doing something. I'm listening to people, and that's where I'm going. So that's what I'm doing. Incredible. And you know something, I'm thinking I'm almost 60 years of age. I'm supposed to retire and sit down and do nothing. I feel as though like 30 years of age again.
You look great. You're in great shape. You know, I love it. Write the vision, make it plain, and run with it.
Yeah. That's it, you know, because I'm enjoying this so much. I'm just enjoying this journey. You know, I'm enjoying just life, you know. And when you can say that, when you can say you're enjoying life, it therefore means that I'm just looking at the positives. You know, I'm looking at the positive things, and I'm just enjoying them, you know, regardless of everything else that's going on around us. We are aware of that. And, you know, I just love seeing all these Black businesses. I never knew that Black business existed until I went to Bob Expo. I was like, hello, what is this? Never seen this ever in my entire life. I was absolutely blown away. And it was by chance that I found you as well. And I'm not going to let you go now.
Thank you for being a great advocate.
It's
yeah. How can we enjoy your books, and how can we connect with you?
Well, you can connect with me on my Instagram, Focus Lane Books, Facebook, Focus Lane Books. My email address is focuslanebooks@gmail.com if you want to drop me a line and ask me any questions. I'm available to come out to you into schools, organizations, football academies. If you work with young people, I'm the person. I will come into your organization and I can speak to the children and showcase my books, because the books are not just for schools as well. I've had first-hand experience of children in sports, and they do need this little guidance to keep them focused and so on. Mentoring, if you're doing mentoring, my resources are absolutely excellent for mentoring. Keeps the children, like I say again, keep them guided, keep them focused, and it's a support aid. It's not an aid for teaching them, it's an aid for letting them or getting them, capturing them to start putting some work into their book, taking responsibility and making them accountable, providing them, doing little chunks of work, little chunks, and those little chunks of work will get them over the line to their exam. Identify what they need to do and get it done with those children. And and there's accountability, monitor, review, set the target, monitor, review, set that target, and go again. Keep it very simple. I always learned from a head teacher, keep everything very, very simple. And that's what these books are. Very, very simple. And sometimes things are so simple that people don't get it, because they think it's too simple. You need to be doing all weird and wonderful things. No, it's the simple things that means that it's doable, it's manageable, and it's consistent. You can be consistent with whatever you're doing. Parents and carers, you're very busy. So if children are working through these books, you can say, right, your class teacher has said you need to work on fractions. Set your timetable, set a little home learning task. For 6 weeks, it's fractions in your Focus Lane books. Go onto the website and get some resources, but I'll be providing you with resources very soon. My head's down and I'm working. So my website, you can go onto my website, and there are the start of the 3 books are there. But believe you me, I will be enthusing you with many more resources. This is just the start. So you're all going to see the growth. 6 months from now, you'll say, oh, I listened to her. And look at her now, because 6 months from now, we're going to have another interview, and then we're going to say.
Indeed. Sandra, it's been an absolute joy just to have you here, listening to your story. It's incredible, your passion in times of difficulties, when everybody was retrieving, pulling back in the pandemic. You thought the opposite. You thought, no, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to take a chance. And you took that chance in yourself. You believed in yourself. Ultimately, that comes from a background of having great parents who put that foundation in you, gave you that encouragement, and you instilled that in your children, your boys, who've gone on to do some incredible things. And of course, your students, thousands of which have gone on to do some great things, even being pulled up in the big ASDA, and also just, coming to you and saying, you touched me, you impacted me. And I'm sure there's so many other people who've read your books and who will read your books in the future, whose lives you've impacted. So from Bob Expo, I just want to say a huge thank you.
Thank you very much.